All right, तो पैरेलल चल रहा है vocab and reading comprehension. RC थोड़ा देर से स्टार्ट किया था तो थोड़ा पीछे है, but still we are on episode number 17, I suppose. And of course, you are requested to download the app so that you can get access to all the free content for IPMAT prep. And then you can also make some money by answering a few questions and giving solutions and commenting or just liking the comment. And here are the batches for IPMAT 27-28. And here is finally the passage. Please read. You can pause and read. Question number 1. Oh, you were in the options. All right, question 2. Question 3. Number 4. Number 5. And number 6. All right, so now that you have solved, we can go back to reading the passage and getting the answers. An ominous low rumble. Ominous is something, vocab mein sikhaya maine, something that kind of predicts that something bad is going to happen. That is ominous, all right, dangerous. An ominous low rumble rose from the forest as the scimitar, I hope I'm saying it right, elephant family gathered at the edge of the clearing. From my research tower overlooking the Mushara waterhole in Namibia's Etosha National Park, I watched the family's agitation intensify as low rumbles turned into growls and roars. So elephants started getting aggressive. Their matriarch, the family leader, okay, Chilonis, waited just inside the tree line while my team hurried to prepare our cameras, data sheets, and binoculars. We were eager to observe Zeta, an adult female who had been expelled from the family, usko nikal diya tha, who had been expelled from the family after giving birth the previous year. Would she attempt to rejoin the family, or had she finally accepted life apart? My hypothesis was that in this scrub desert, where food and water are scarce, elephant families maintain smaller groups by selectively removing certain individuals. So probably Zeta had been removed. Why? Because food and water are scarce. Scientists studying elephants in Kenya's resource-rich Amboseli National Park described family groups as largely egalitarian, यहाँ पे equality रहती है, with temporary separations followed by joyful reunions. At Mushara, however, now बड़ा दो है, एक ये मुशारा है और दूसरा इन्होंने कीनिया वाला बताया है, yeah, that is Amboseli. Kenya is resource-rich, Mushara is not. At Mushara, however, dominant females actively chased away lower-ranking relatives, particularly around pregnancy or childbirth. These contrasting behaviors suggested that environmental pressures might shape different elephant cultures. So author says that it is possible. She's not saying that it is the case. She says it might be possible that environmental pressures might shape different elephant cultures. One possible explanation lay in optional foraging theory. Mothers require enormous resources to sustain a 22-month pregnancy and years of nursing. When food becomes insufficient for a large family, dominant females may face the difficult choice of reducing group size to maximize the family's long-term reproductive success. We hoped that DNA extracted from carefully collected dung samples would reveal whether expelled females such as Zeta were more distantly related to the matriarch than those who remained. I mean, relationship में distance था इस वजह से expel किया है या कोई और वजह है. While investigating these questions, another family transformed our field season. Fresia, a young female from the floral family. तो वो some SCI कुछ उससे थे और ये floral है, okay? Arrived with a new born calf whose loose tendons left him barely able to stand or nurse. We name him Baby Groot. Instead of abandoning the struggling pair, the family slowed its pace, waited for them during journeys, and even baby Groot's older brother helped care for him. Now, यहाँ पे the behavior of the elephants is totally different. They have not thrown her out. In fact, they have started helping both of them. Each visit became a tense wait to see whether he had survived and whether his condition had improved. Competition at the waterhole remained fierce. Dominant families repeatedly charged to secure access to the spring, sometimes driving weaker families away. During one confrontation, baby Groot stumbled beneath a dominant female, narrowly escaping injury before his mother and brother rescued him. Such conflicts reflected the harsh reality of survival where only a handful of water resources exist. ये मुशारा की बात हो रही है. By the end of the season, Zeta's persistence was rewarded when Chelonis welcomed her back into the family with deep rumbles and tongue touches. तो Zeta चलो वापस welcome हो गया उनका. The Florals, meanwhile, disappeared from Mushara, apparently choosing safe water source over dangerous encounters. Their story raised broader question. While some families fragmented under resource pressure, others stayed united despite hardship. तो ये भी certain नहीं है कि this is the only reason why families expel. Okay, because hardships थे, but फिर भी floral family they stayed together. Whether aggression or cooperation ultimately proves the more successful strategy remains uncertain. But the Florals offered a reminder that resilience and solidarity can endure even under the harshest conditions. तो कोई final solution, final conclusion नहीं हमारे पास कि which is the better strategy. But हाँ, it may be, it may not be पे आके पैसेज आपका रुकता है. Question number 1. The author's comparison between elephant societies in Etosha and Amboseli primarily serves which of the following purposes. A central idea basically क्या है, compare करके वो क्या इससे बताना चाह रहा है हमको. Okay, A, to argue that earlier studies of elephant societies were fundamentally flawed because they generalize observations from resource-rich environments to all elephant populations without considering ecological variation. By the way, I don't think that there is any comparison with the previous studies, let alone they being fundamentally flawed. ये तो कहीं नहीं कि जो पहले स्टडी थी वो सब फ्लॉड थी, मैं जो कह रही हूँ वो सही है, ऐसा तो नहीं बोला ऑथर ने बेटा. Eliminate. B, to demonstrate that what appears to be a universal social trait in elephants may instead be shaped by environmental conditions, thereby motivating the investigation into whether resource scarcity can produce different social cultures. Let's hold it. C, to establish that elephant families in Etosha are evolutionarily more advanced. I don't think the passage discusses anything about evolution or being more advanced that way. Eliminated. D, to suggest that behavioral differences between the two populations arise mainly from genetic divergence. Again, there is no discussion of any sort of genetic divergence. So we can happily go with B for Bombay as the answer for question number 1. Number 2. Which of the following, if true, would most seriously weaken the author's hypothesis that resource scarcity is the principal driver behind the expulsion of females like Zeta from their family? Author कहता है चूंकि resource कम थे तो Zeta जैसे जो pregnant weaker females हैं उनको expel कर दिया गया. How do we weaken this statement की नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, वजह शायद कोई और रही हो सकता है. Similar patterns of expelling pregnant or newly calved females are documented in elephant populations inhabiting regions where food and water remain plentiful throughout the year. अब यहाँ पे कह रहा है कि यार food and water तो है लगातार, but still they were expelled. ठीक है, तो which means what? That जो आप कह रहे हो कि environmental factors हैं वो नहीं है शायद. Let's hold it. B, genetic analysis reveals that expelled females are often among the matriarch's closest relatives, yet they continue to be removed despite their close kinship. I don't think यहाँ पे kinship का बेटा कोई argument है, वहाँ तो environmental argument था यहाँ पे. ठीक है, scarcity की बात कर रहे हैं वो. Eliminated. I think हाँ, B is gone. C, dominant elephant families are frequently observed chasing rival families away from water holes even during years of unusually high rainfall. Now this is not about the competing families. It is about some elephant being expelled from his or her own family. Eliminated. D, some low-ranking elephant families remain large despite living in the same desert environment and continue to survive successfully over multiple generations. Again, it is not about survival, it is about expulsion. तो हम लोग ए पे वापस जाते हैं कि सर ऐसा है जो आप कह रहे हो कि रिसोर्स क्रंच की वजह से निकाला है, ऐसा नहीं है. रिसोर्स क्रंच होता है तब भी नहीं है, रिसोर्स क्रंच नहीं है तब भी females have been expelled. So reasons might have been other. So answer A. Number 3. The episode involving baby Groot contributes to the passage primarily because it, जो floral का baby Groot था उसको बचा के चल रहे थे सब लोग, demonstrates that compassion within elephant families ultimately outweighs ecological pressures, thereby challenging the author's broader argument regarding competition for survival. बेटा ultimately outweighs देखते हैं, let's hold it. B. Provides evidence that physical disability strengthens social cohesion by encouraging cooperative caregiving among all members of elephant family. Evidence that physical disability की वजह से ऐसा हो रहा था, I don't think so. ठीक है, कुछ और वजह हो सकती है. देखते हैं, C पे आते हैं. Functions as a counterpoint to the experiences of Zeta, illustrating that elephant societies display behavioral flexibility rather than following a single rigid pattern under resource constraints. ये है कि resource constraints में जहां Zeta की फैमिली ने उसको निकाल दिया था, वहीं जो फ्लोरल फैमिली थी उसने बेबी ग्रूट को निकाला नहीं, इनफैक्ट मदर को और बेबी ग्रूट दोनों को प्रोटेक्ट करके चले थे. तो आई थिंक हैप्पीली वी कैन गो विथ सी. डी पे आते हैं. Suggests that lower ranking elephant families are naturally less aggressive. The topic is not about aggression as such. ठीक है, बड़ी फैमिली है तो भगाएगी यार वीकर फैमिली को. So we have marked the answer as C for question number 3. Compassion, not discussed as such, maybe. Which of the following statements best captures the author's overall attitude towards the behavioral differences observed among the elephant families? Okay, author का attitude क्या है? All right. The author is convinced that ecological pressures alone are sufficient to explain every observed variation in elephant behavior and regards competing explanations as largely unnecessary. Beta too strong. Alone are sufficient. कहीं नहीं बोली है, बोलती it may not be. अभी कोई भी conclusion नहीं था passage में बेटा. A is gone. B. The author believes that differences in elephant behavior are primarily the consequence of individual personalities rather than social organization or ecological condition. Individual personalities की भी बात वहां पे नहीं है, किसी individual को तो डिस्कस किया भी नहीं उन्होंने as such. C. The author remains largely detached from the observations, deliberately avoiding any emotional investment, so that the narrative maintains complete scientific neutrality. नहीं, emotional investment था तो baby Groot को लेके कि it was tense to find out whether he has survived or not. Okay. D. The author presents her preferred hypothesis with cautious optimism, while repeatedly acknowledging conflicting evidence and leaving room for alternative explanations that further research may uncover. Absolutely this. She has not given any conclusive kind of line कि बस ऐसा होता है. She says it may not be, and then of course एक फैमिली ऐसा बिहेव कर रही है, दूसरा फैमिली दूसरे के ऐसा बिहेव कर रही है. तो एविडेंस भी है कि बिहेवियर जो है कंसिस्टेंट नहीं है. So you cannot have conclusion. Number 5. Suppose future field studies reveal that several elephant populations living in equally resource poor habitats consistently retain large family groups without expelling pregnant females yet achieve reproductive success comparable to that of the scimitars. Which of the following would most likely be the author's response? Author इस पे कैसे respond करेगी? अच्छा, वहां पे भी ना मतलब she or he, I don't know, भूल गया मैं. The author is very willing, very open, very flexible about other findings as well. So I don't think she will react in a negative way to this. She would reject the findings? I don't think so. Because they would directly contradict decades of accepted research on elephant societies and therefore are unlikely to be reliable. Not at all. I don't think that the author will be outright rejecting it. Eliminate it. B. She would regard the findings as evidence that resource scarcity plays no meaningful role. No meaningful role in shaping elephant societies and would abandon her hypothesis altogether. ऐसा भी नहीं है, because she also has evidence. So she won't abandon it. C. She would treat the findings as an indication that ecological constraints interact with additional variables such as family hierarchy, social culture, or matriarchal leadership, rather than operating as the sole determinant of behavior. अकेले environmental कंडीशंस डिसाइड नहीं करती हैं इनका बिहेवियर, और भी चीजें होती हैं. आई थिंक शी विल ट्रीट इट लाइक दिस. डी पे आते हैं. शी वुड कंक्लूड that elephant societies cannot be meaningfully studied. कि चलो इनको हम स्टडी कर नहीं सकते, हटाओ कुछ और किया जाए. Using behavioral ecology because individual decisions are fundamentally unpredictable. I don't think ये टॉपिक था भी नहीं था. तो we go back to C. She will accept it and kind of figure it out कि हाँ बाकी factors भी हो सकते हैं along with ecological factors. Number 6. Which of the following best describes the structural role played by the concluding discussion of the pharaohs? Okay, I think the floras and zetas reunion with the schemators. Okay, it broadens the discussion from individual observations to unresolved scientific questions, emphasizing that contrasting family strategies invite further investigation rather than definite conclusions. Okay, B. It reinforces the article's principal argument by showing that the author's initial explanation accounts satisfactorily for every behavioral pattern observed during the study. For every behavioral pattern. कैसे कोई explanation नहीं है, हर सबका explanation तो नहीं है वहाँ पे. C. It resolves the central scientific question by demonstrating conclusively that cooperation is evolutionarily more successful than aggression. बेटा last line वहाँ लिखा हुआ है कि if you remember cooperation and aggression, पढ़ लेते हैं वहाँ चल के सीधे सीधे. Whether aggression or cooperation ultimately proves the more successful strategy remains uncertain. तो uncertain है तो third भी eliminate है वहाँ पे. Let me come to number 6 ना. हाँ. So it resolves the central scientific question by demonstrating conclusively that cooperation is more successful. No, not at all. और ऊपर भी अभी hold किया हुआ है. हाँ every वाले को हमने हटा दिया था. It shifts the focus away from scientific inquiry and transforms the article into a personal reflection on conservation ethics. There is no discussion about conservation ethics or animal welfare. इसको हटाते हैं. ठीक है. Let's get back to A. It broadens the discussion from individual observations to unresolved scientific questions, emphasizing that contrasting family strategies invite further investigation rather than definite conclusion. So we can mark A as the answer. तो बेटा नीचे लिखो कितने सही हुए कितने गलत हुए हैं. ठीक है. सम ऑफ यू आर रियली डूइंग वेल. आई प्रॉमिस मैं एक दिन सबके नाम लूंगा वहां पे. मैं हर बार ये बोलता हूँ भूल जाता हूँ, लेकिन मेरे को मतलब ध्यान है. ऑलराइट, सो प्लीज शेयर योर स्कोर्स इन द कमेंट्स एंड आई थिंक सम ऑफ यू आर रियली डूइंग रियली वेल बेटा. तो कंटिन्यू एंड ऑफ कोर्स इफ यू हैव नॉट डिसाइडेड येट, make a decision. I mean, download the app, make some money through iCoins and take a decision regarding the batches as well. Good luck.